Hello everyone and welcome back to the Strife startup here on the YogCast server. I am of course William Strife and I am playing YogCast Complete. If you want to give this modded Minecraft pack a shot, you can go ahead and download it yourself off of the 18 launcher. Go ahead and check the description for a link if you're interested. So, last time that I was here, I did a whole lot of stuff. I upgraded the crops, I established a bunch of stuff. So, before I get started today, I should probably show you some of the things that I've done between episodes since it's been several days since I've sat down and done any of this. First of all, these sprinklers here that I installed, I've got a creeper down there. These sprinklers that I installed, you've got to be bullshitting me. Don't you dare, Mr. Creeper. Not allowed to. Stupid. Okay, so like I was saying, I've done a whole lot of stuff. These sprinklers, which spur crop growth on, they basically work as a super inefficient version of bone meal, but it's automated. So it was creating a bunch of weeds around here. So I replaced all of the grass blocks with these dirt bricks from the chisel mod. I've also upgraded the automated farm here with I've got tons of fertilized dirt here, and I don't know if I explained it, but fertilized dirt is basically 4 times more efficient than standard dirt, and it doesn't need to be hydrated. So it's super expensive to make, granted, with 4 bone meal and 4 rotten flesh or zombie brains in this mod pack. But definitely worth the time to make. And I've got a grinder down in the mines because I found a zombie spawner. Anyways, I got this working. I also had to build a sludge drum, or well, just a drum because sludge is a byproduct of running a harvester. So I've got that working. I also turned this field into one big rice paddy as well. So those are those upgrades. Oh, I also went over to the volcano on Yay Horizon, and I sucked it dry. I got all the lava out of it because I have, and I made multiple different lava drums that I put all of the lava into. Now, I didn't really cover this in detail before, but I prefer mechanism pipes to everything else because all other pipes that transport liquid in Minecraft tend to have some sort of a cork to them, but I use mechanical pipes specifically because you can tell them to extract liquid without needing any, you don't need a redstone pulse like thermal expansion pipes do. You don't need an engine like Buildcraft pipes do. All you have to do is use this configurator tool, which is made of lapis lazuli, 2 enriched alloy, a stick, and an energy tablet, which is built like that. And all you have to do is hover the hitbox over the edge of the pipe, hold down shift, right click, now it's set to push liquids, now it's set to extract liquids, and it just works straight out, and it moves so much liquid so quickly. Really useful. The other thing that I made was this lava generator, which, for those of you who have been playing modded Minecraft for a long time, this is basically a geothermal generator from Industrial Craft, if you know what that is. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it too much. And the way that you create the lava generator is not too much different from the furnace generator. It's a furnace, redstone, 5 gold ingots, and a block of iron in the middle, and you get a lava generator. So not excessively expensive, though certainly not cheap. Though granted, with how ample lava tends to be in the world, no matter where you go, it's definitely worth the resources that it takes to make. That should be everything. So now let's get started with the actual episode in earnest. This episode is about ore tripling. Now, at current, what I am doing is I am using the enrichment chamber to turn my ores into dusts. 1 ore equals 2 dust, and each individual dust smelts into 1 bar. So it's going through the enrichment chamber, being turned into dust, and the dust is then being smelted into ingots, and it's being deposited into my chest over here. Now, the problem with these machines is that they don't exactly work very quickly. However, if I go ahead and shut off NEI really quickly here, it's possible to insert upgrades into these machines to make them work faster. Now, I've already built the upgrades because this is just a big, tedious process that I don't want to have to do on camera, and I've already put upgrades in the enrichment chamber over here. But the basic rule of thumb is that if I come over here, the energized smelter is consuming 20 RF per tick to smelt 1 unit, okay? Now, that's the energy cost with every machine at default, no matter what. However, this will smelt 6 times faster because it has 5 speed enhancements in it, and it will take 9 times less energy. And the result of those two combo together is that it takes 36 RF per tick for it to run one single process. Now, that's granted more than 50% increase in cost, but I'd say that it's definitely worth it. So, really quickly, the way that you create these speed upgrades is enriched alloy, osmium, and glass for the speed upgrades, and the exact same crafting recipe plus gold dust for the energy upgrades. And like I said, general rule of thumb, you want to put 8 energy upgrades in the machine and 5 speed upgrades, because you're still only using up a manageable amount of energy. Now, as you can see, as those speed upgrades are absorbed into the machine, it's increasing exponentially to do the work. Now I'm at 356 RF per tick with just the speed upgrades. So it's really important to balance it out with the power upgrades. So there's the first thing right off the list, the upgrades to speed and power. Now, to engage in ore tripling, I'm going to need oxygen. And for that matter, not just oxygen, I'm going to be able to make use of hydrogen in the process as well. To get these two commodities, I'm going to need an electrolytic separator. Now, the electrolytic separator does one specific thing. It separates water into hydrogen and oxygen. And what you can do with... There are multiple applications for those two gases, but what I'm really after right now is the oxygen, which I'm going to need pressurized tubes to transport it. And I'm also going to need gas tanks to store the hydrogen, because that's going to come in use much later down the line. Now, the reason why I need to move the oxygen out of the electrolytic separator through pressurized tubes is to get it into the purification chamber, which uses oxygen to purify things. After things come out of the purification chamber, they're going to have to go through the crusher. And then, because I'll have this purification chamber and crusher in place, I'll be able to make use of an osmium compressor as well to create an atomic disassembler, which is a much better tool to the steel paxels that I've been, basically running through like water. So step 1 is to make the electrolytic separator. And to make the electrolytic separator, I am going to need iron, enriched alloy, redstone, and an electrolytic core, which is composed of gold dust, iron dust, osmium dust, and enriched alloy. Now, because of all the crafting I'm going to have to do this episode, I went through the trouble of gathering up basically all of the materials that I'm going to need for this episode and pre-grinding them. So let us create the electrolytic separator. First, the electrolytic core, shift-click right there. We only need 1. We don't want to shift-click and make like 7 of these things. Granted, I'm going to need a lot of electrolytic cores in the long run, but for now, this is all that I need. Okay, and now, with the electrolytic core done, let's make the electrolytic separator. There we go. Presto. That's one thing marked off the list. Next up is pressurized tubes. Now, pressurized tubes, lest I be mistaken, is steel and glass. There we go. So we've got 16 pressurized tubes. That will do the job for that. So that is pressurized tubes off the list. Next up are gas tanks. Here we go. Osmium ingots surrounding iron dust. Now, these are going to have a large application much later on down the line. Yeah, there we go. I got it right. But I only need 2 at the moment. I could do with more in the long run, but for just right now, I only need 2. So there's your gas tanks. Here we go. Purification chamber. Now, this is a complicated piece of equipment, which is going to require no less than 2 diamonds, and I'm also going to need obsidian dust, and I've got a little bit of obsidian here. I think 1 might be enough. So I'm going to come in here and, okay, ejection is off on this thing, so it's not going to automatically spit it over into the other machine. But I'm going to grind up this obsidian to get some dirty obsidian dust. So now, to create the purification chamber, the first thing I have to create is an enrichment chamber. And to make the enrichment chamber, okay, I need control circuits. And these control circuits are redstone on either side of some enriched alloy. I'm going to need a steel casing as well. And a steel casing, as we all know, is just osmium surrounded by some steel. Once again, purification chamber. Hopefully I've got everything this time. Yep, there we go. Enrichment chamber. Now that the enrichment chamber is complete, next up is the purification chamber, which requires these atomic cores in addition to the enrichment chamber and the control circuits. So the atomic cores are really what's expensive. 2 obsidian dust, 2 osmium dust, 1 diamond, and enriched alloy. Now I should have everything I need to make one. Okay, there we go. 2 atomic cores. Now I should be able to make the purification chamber. Alloy and the atomic cores. There we go. Purification chamber. We're done. Another step down the road. So purification chamber is off the list. We're getting close now. We're getting close. Now the next step is the crusher. There we go. The crusher, which is 2 buckets of lava, a steel casing, and some basic circuits with redstone. So I've got the control circuits already. Okay, to make this crusher, I'm going to need 2 buckets of lava, and just by luck, hey, I was thinking ahead all the time. Check this out, I can go ahead and just bucket up 2 buckets of lava out of the basement that I'm generating power off of. Okay, so with these lava buckets in my inventory, now I can make the crusher, which doesn't work with shift click. I'm not entirely certain why that's the case, but it's redstone in the corners, control circuits left and right, lava top and bottom, and a steel casing in the middle, and there we go, we've got a crusher. Okay, that's pretty much everything this round, guys. What we have left to make, though, is the osmium compressor, and we're not going to be able to make the atomic disassembler until we reach the very, very end of the episode. So atomic disassembler is the last element. I'm going to have to make the osmium compressor and set all these machines up first before I can make that awesome tool at the very, very end. So osmium compressor is right here. Okay, so now I've got all the components together. Now we can just make our osmium compressor. Shift click. And there we go, osmium compressor, and we are done. We've got all the components that we set out to make this particular episode. Okay, so something I almost forgot is that I'm going to have to rip up a bunch of these chests, but there's a lot of stuff inside of these chests, and I don't want to have to deal with the whole process of, like, you know, breaking them, and it just pukes out all of the contents all over the floor, and I have to pick that stuff up and resort everything. So there is another thing that I need to engage in very, very quickly, and that is to create an item called a precision sawmill. And this requires 2 enriched alloys, 4 iron ingots, a steel casing, and some basic circuitry. I'll go ahead and just make one here very, very quickly. There we go. Now I have a precision sawmill. Now, what I am after right here is running some logs through the precision sawmill. Okay, so there we go. I've got a bunch of wood in the process of utilizing that precision sawmill, but something else that I also have a lot of now is sawdust. Now, sawdust is super, super useful because what it can be used to create is cardboard boxes. Oh my god, I seem to have gotten the crafting recipe mixed up. Here we go, cardboard boxes. I've got 3 of these now, and what I can do with a cardboard box is that I can right-click it onto a box. I love that that texture, and now I can, whoops, didn't mean to break the floor, but now I have this cardboard box with block data in it, and what this does is it allows me to box up a chest and move it with its contents entirely to a new location without concern about, you know, losing any of what's inside of it. Okay, so after quite a bit of trying to, you know, wrap my head around how exactly I'm going to put this together, I've figured out exactly a system to put together, but the problem is that I can't actually pipe the oxygen up here. I'm going to have to move it via tank, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's just the way that things are. So, first off, I've put the osmium compressor down right here. This is going to serve plenty of good use in a minute. But the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to put the purification followed by the crusher, enrichment, and the energized smelter last. So there are all of the machines. Now let's see. Okay, let's put this cardboard box down right there. That's where all of the materials are going to go whenever they come out of the ore processing. There we go. Box has been relocated successfully. So I can organize the ore processing in an extremely efficient manner, starting right here with the purification chamber. Now, like I said, this thing needs oxygen. Now, as an alternative to oxygen, it is possible to put flint in to allow it to chew through materials. You see it took it right there, and it's made 10 oxygen out of the flint, but that's a super ineffective matter. So the way that you make lots of oxygen is through the electrolytic separator. Now, the electrolytic separator, I covered this in Chaos, Solutions in Chaos, but what this does is it separates water into hydrogen and oxygen. And as you can see, I've got a water line back there that's coming off of the same infinite water source that I'm using to power the sprinklers outside. So let's see if I can, here's my basic universal cable. I'll just connect things up this way, right down into her, and take that one up right there. And, okay, she's getting power, and she's generating both hydrogen and oxygen. You can see it generating here. And let's see, I should have the tanks on me. I've got one of these, has a little bit of oxygen in them already as I was trying to figure things out. So oxygen is always coming out of the right, hydrogen is always coming out of the left. So now this tank is filling up with oxygen. Once this gets decently full, I'll relocate it upstairs to get things running more efficiently. But in the meantime, what I can do is I can come in here and I can configure the inputs and outputs. So once again, the way that the configuration works on this, I can turn auto eject on. I can set the output to blue. Blue is always the output, red is always the input for mechanism machines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold shift and clear all of these, and I'm going to click it once to turn it to red, and there we go, that's done. And you just need to do this with all of the configuration panels on every single machine along the processing line. Okay, so with that done, I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of iron, and I'm going to come down here, snag myself this oxygen canister. It's not exactly anywhere near full, but at the same time, you know, it has that electrolytic separator. It has its own internal tank, so I'll just put that in there. Okay, now it's got some oxygen. I'll put the iron in. And presto, it's working along just fine. And what this is going to do is it's going to purify the iron ore into clumps, 3 clumps specifically. The clumps are going to go into the crusher, and the crusher is going to crush these clumps into dirty iron dust. So it doesn't end up in the slot actually, but it ends up right over here. Yeah, dirty iron dust, which is enriched into purified iron dust, which is sent through the energized smelter, and then it pops out right over here. So now I am tripling my ores effectively. This does mean that I now have the means by which to put together an atomic disassembler. Now, the atomic disassembler is actually not too overly expensive to create. The problem is that you need an obsidian ingot. And obsidian ingots are more or less an amalgamation of diamond dust, osmium, and obsidian. It's basically a really sophisticated alloy, the obsidian ingot from Mechanism, and you can't substitute this ingot with anything from another mod. So the way you create this obsidian ingot is... I'm going to have to scroll through this, but you need to run refined obsidian dust through an osmium compressor, which is where the osmium goes into the dust. To make refined obsidian dust, you have to combine diamond dust with dirty obsidian dust, and you make dirty obsidian dust by crushing up obsidian. So let me just crush up a tiny bit of obsidian here. I'll take the diamond and run it through the crusher. Now I've got 1 diamond dust. This should infuse both. Okay, so now I should have all of the materials that I need to make all of the items. Let's start off with the energy tablet. Just need 1. Go ahead and make this atomic core, which is dirty dust, osmium dust, diamond, and enriched alloy. There we go. Now that I have the obsidian ingots, I can make the atomic disassembler. And naturally, because this energy tablet has to go in it, I cannot do the shift-click trick, but I can insert these things, and there we go. Presto, atomic disassembler. My days of having a mining implement that runs out of durability are behind me. Now I just need to put this in my energy cube, and it's going to suck the power out of the energy cube and charge itself up. Now what's great about the atomic disassembler is that this is basically an electronic version of a paxel. It will dig stone, it will chop trees, it will dig dirt, and anything else that you whack. However, if you hold down shift and right click, you can toggle the mode to slow, fast, vein, off, and normal. So all of those modes, you see a value next to it, which represents how much energy it's going to be using up per mine. So typically what I have it set to is slow, which is, you know, pretty manageable. Normal's not bad either. It moves fairly fast. However, what I really wanted this for was vein. If I just mine out this one single piece of iron right here, boom, all of it mined out at once. This is going to save me so much time before I can get automated mining up and running. So, there you go. I have completely finished everything. Everything is checked off of the list. Atomic disassembler, done. I am William Strife, and I'm building up one hell of a company. Just wait. Everybody else on this server is going to bow down to me sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. I'm like a spring. I'm building up incredible power in a small package, and then all of a sudden I'm going to explode into the most important thing hanging around here. Honeydew won't know what hit him. Sipsco ain't got a chance against me. I'll see you guys later, another time, in the next video. Bye.